Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. This is Krishna Dasa. Today we are going to complete chapter 9. So we are going to do Shlokas 9.26 to 9.34. Before we begin, I will say the prayers to Guru and God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. I'll play the Guru mantra.
Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha.
Hare Krishna. Okay, now I will play the slokas. I'll play from 9.26.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam shubha shubha phalairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi संन्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास्तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्या भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकमिमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजीवां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैव मात्मानं मत्परायणः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः।
Hare Krishna. Okay. So who is reading today?
I'm reading, Guruji. Whenever you give me the go-ahead, I can start.
Sure, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji. 9.26. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it as the offering of a pure-hearted devotee. 9.27. O son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering to me. 9.28. Thus, by performing your duties without attachment to their fruits, you will be freed from the bondage of good and bad results. Through such renunciation, you will achieve peace and be liberated and attain me. 9.29. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. Such devotees, they are in me and I am also in them. 9.30 Even sinners who have committed the most abominable actions, if they engage in devotional service to me, they are to be considered saintly because they have made the proper resolve. 9.31 Such a devoted person quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. 9.32 O son of Bharta, O son of Pratha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. 9.33 What then to say of the holy Brahmanas and devout royal sages? Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving devotional service unto me. 9.34 Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mitaji. So, as you can see, these are some very powerful shlokas. So I will try my best to do justice to this set of shlokas that conclude this beautiful chapter. So in the previous section, we covered a very powerful, very beautiful verse. The famous 9.22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripasite tesham nityabhiyuktanam. So what was tesham nityabhiyuktanam? Those who are constantly engaged in thought, prayer and love for me, yogakshemam vahamyaham. I will take care of them. Beautiful, correct? Now, what happens? Sometimes people have this question. So whenever any devotee, whenever they talk about ananya chintan, people who are not yet in ananya chintan, they have this question. They will ask, if I'm always thinking about Krishna, then how can I focus on my day-to-day life? If I'm always thinking about Krishna, then what's going to happen to my life? This question comes. I have family to take care, I have business to take care, I have a job. Now, I have to make money, I have to pay the bills. Now, who is going to do all of that if I'm all the time only thinking of Krishna? I don't know if you have this question, but some people do have that question. So Krishna has multiple answers to that. One of the answers, Krishna says, if you reach that stage where you are always thinking of me so much that you are not able to think of anything else, your job, your income, anything. If he says if you reach that stage, then you don't have to worry. And if you reach that stage, then I will take care of everything else. You don't have to worry about what will happen to your life. Okay? That is the first answer. And the second answer, Krishna says, till you reach that stage, I'm never asking you to neglect your duties. I'm never asking you to not focus on your work. Krishna says, what I am preaching is not giving away action or giving up action. I'm talking about devotion in action. I'm talking about think of me while doing your work. And how you can do that is by considering that as an offering to me. If you are cooking, if you are a cook, if cooking is your job, when you are cooking, can't you think that you are cooking for Krishna? That way you are cooking and you are also thinking of Krishna. Just like that, if you are a musician, can't you think like you are singing for Krishna? That way you are focusing on the song also, you are focusing on Krishna. So that is Krishna's message. Devotion in action. See, we will cover this. I wanted to bring out one extremely beautiful aspect of Sri Krishna's promise. In that sloka, there is a word, vahamyaham. So you can check online dictionary if you want, but vahamyaham in this context actually means carrying it. So he's saying, I will carry it for the devotees. So beautiful, so touching. Krishna is not just saying he will grant what you need. He's saying he will carry what you need. So loving. I mean, this is what a loving God is all about, right? Krishna says, I will carry what you need. So I would like to quote a very interesting story, which is a real story, which happened, which is documented in our scriptures. So there was this very great, renowned Sanskrit scholar. His name was Jagannath Mishra. And incidentally, he's also the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can understand the level. You can understand what kind of a personality we are talking about. So Jagannath Mishra is a very, very influential scholar. And one of the things that he used to do, one of his main accomplishments was he used to write commentaries on the scriptures. And he's also written a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. So he was writing a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And while he was writing the commentary, when he came to this shloka, 9.22, ananya chintayanto, that very famous shloka, I'm trying not to repeat it because I say it so many times, I just love that shloka. So he reads that part which says, ananya chintayanto maam ye jana paripasite tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So when he comes to that last part, vahamyaham, he tells himself, Vahamyam. Why is the Lord saying, I will carry what the devotee needs? It feels a little too much. This is how he's thinking, He's thinking, that feels just a too much. I mean, why would Krishna carry something for devotees? So, because he says, it should at the most be, I will provide or I will grant. That is his thinking. So there is a Sanskrit word for just provide or grant. That word is dadamyaham. So what he does, he cuts off that word vahamyaham and he replaces that word with dadamyaham. So eventually it says tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam dadamyaham. So that is now his interpretation. Now, what is your opinion? He was a great scholar. He was very renowned. And he is a spiritually elevated person also. He is not just somebody. He is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father, Jagannath Mishra. So then see what happens. After he did this, a young boy appears at the doorstep of Jagannath Mishra. And he knocks on the door. Jagannath Mishra's wife opens the door. And it's a very young, beautiful boy. And he has a cut on his face. A bruise, a very big visible bruise, a cut. And it's bleeding. Mishra's wife, she opens the door, she looks at that injured child. She's sad also and she's shocked also. She's like, you are such a nice, beautiful child and why are you here and who hurt you like this? So the child, in a crying voice says, Jagannath ji hurt me. And Mishra's wife, Jagannath's wife, she's just, she's shocked. She can't believe that her husband would do something so lowly like hurt a beautiful little child. So she goes, she tends to his wounds, she cleans it, she tends to it. And then she says, you must be hungry. I'll give you some food. But every time she feeds him something, he will find fault with it. He will say it is overcooked. Then she will do something else. He will say it is undercooked. Then she will try something else. He will say it is too salty. Then she will try to fix it. He will say it is too bland. And incidentally, Jagannath Mishra's wife was known to be a very excellent cook. In those days, she was considered to be an expert chef. And she is very confused. What is going on? First of all, this boy shows up with such a bad injury and then it turns out my husband is the culprit, which I find so hard to believe. And then this child is finding faults in my food, which is renowned all over the region as, I'm one of the best cooks. What's going on? So Jagannath Mishra had gone out to the bazaar. He had gone to get something when all this drama happened. So he comes back, he comes back home. As soon as he enters the home, Mishraji's wife confronts him. She's like, have you lost your mind? How can you hurt such a beautiful little child? And Jagannath Mishra also doesn't understand what's going on. He says, I can promise, I never hurt a child. What are you saying? What are you talking about? How can I hurt a child? So all this drama goes on and this child is enjoying all the drama. And then this child comes in front of Jagannath Mishra and the child says, I have some questions to you. I want to discuss with you about some aspects of the Bhagavad Gita. So Jagannath Mishra is totally taken aback. This small child coming to Jagannath Mishra, the renowned scholar, Sanskrit scholar, and saying he wants to discuss something about Bhagavad Gita. So he says, okay, let us see what you want to say. And so the child starts talking and the child directly brings him to 9.22. The child. And then the child says, do you really understand why Krishna said Vahamyam? Right to the point. He says, because Lord Krishna, in his infinite compassion, he is saying that he does not just provide, but he also carries their burdens. He carries their sorrows. He carries their sufferings. He says that word Vahamyaham, it encapsulates all of this. It encapsulates this profound love, the care that Krishna has for his devotees. It is not just a technical word. Jagannath Mishra is taken aback. He didn't expect anybody, let alone a young boy, to come and, debate with him about the Bhagavad Gita and help him understand a perspective of the Bhagavad Gita that he probably did not really understand. He really felt humbled. He felt humbled by this. Not only the boy had wisdom, but he had so much passion. And he seemed to have so much conviction in what he's talking about. See, this is one of the good things about truly learned people. People who are truly learned, when somebody points out their mistake, they get it. It is only people with half knowledge or people who are not truly knowledgeable who will never acknowledge. Even if God comes in front of them, stands in front of them and tells them what is right, they find it hard to acknowledge. But people who are truly knowledgeable, even if a young child comes, Jagannath Mishra still understood. He understood his mistake. That he was only looking at the technicalities. He was not really understanding the deeper meaning of that whole compassion that Krishna wanted to put in that one word. So it is said that at that instance when Jagannath Mishra felt humility and acknowledged his mistake and apologized for it, and when he said, okay, I think I made a mistake, I'm going to go and re-correct it and put it back to Vahamyaham instead of Dadamyaham, it is said that at that instance, the boy revealed his true self. It was Lord Krishna himself. So Krishna himself, visited Jagannath Mishra and he played this Leela to help him understand such a beautiful story. And he also says, he explains to Jagannath Mishra, he says, the drama that you saw where I had a bruise on my face, that is symbolizing the pain that I feel when my devotees misinterpret or when they try to alter my words. See, in all humility, I want to tell you that is one of the main reasons I started Pragmatic Gita. Because it is not that there is any shortage of scholars in the world. And there are many people like me, I'm not the only one. But most of the popular versions of Bhagavad Gita, not just Bhagavad Gita, take any scripture, take the Bible also if you want. Take any scripture, the most popular interpretations, they all have some kind of twist. They all have some kind of bias. They all have some kind of agenda. And I'm not saying any of them is malicious. All I'm saying is people have taken liberties. People have, taken liberties to change a few things here and there. And I am trying to provide an unbiased, unpractical explanation, which is not biased in any way, which tries to provide that exact thing that Krishna is saying there. And so that is what Krishna says. He says he himself feels a lot of pain when devotees misinterpret or try to alter his words. And that is why he says it is so important to approach these texts with humility, because lack of humility is the main reason why people feel the need. Some people will say, I think this is what Krishna meant. What are you saying? Was Krishna not capable of conveying what he meant? But if you are in a mindset of humility, you will just say, this is what Krishna said. And not try to change the word or change the meaning. And so this boy, as Krishna, tells Jagannath Mishra the same thing, that we need to approach this text with more humility, reverence, and it has to be a sincere effort with no other agenda. So, of course, Jagannath Mishra is totally overwhelmed and he falls at Krishna's feet, he seeks forgiveness, and Krishna is very pleased and he blesses him with divine knowledge and he blesses him with true deep understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. And see the Leela of Shri Krishna, that Jagannath Mishra had a son and he is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he is the avatar of Bhakti. See, that is Krishna's ultimate mercy on Jagannath Mishra.
He born to him, no? Krishna itself born. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Krishna, no? That's avatar, no?
That's what I'm saying. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. See, another thing to really pay attention is the climax that happened. It's not just about correcting a verse. That is not the whole point. The point is, it was a transformation of Jagannath Mishra. He evolved from what? He evolved from a scholar who was confident in his knowledge to a devotee who was humbled by divine grace. That was the evolution that took place in that brief instance that he had with Sri Krishna. So it's a powerful reminder for all of us to approach the Bhagavad Gita and other texts with lot of humility. Pariprashna. That is why Krishna himself has said it has to be pariprashna. Don't be in the mode of pride. Don't be in the mode of being a scholar or intellectual. It has to be in the mode of humility, and it has to be in the mode of trying to understand sincerely. That is pariprashna. Then you will really get the true depth of what Krishna is trying to convey. Then you can feel Krishna's compassion. Then you can feel Krishna's love. Otherwise, you will just be, like that scholar. You will be debating, should it be vahamiham, dadamiham? Does it matter? Was that the intent? The intent is, can you feel that compassion and love when you read that shloka? That is what it should, that is the purpose. That is what the effect should be. Even now when I'm telling you the story, I could feel that energy. It's pretty strong. So, again, I can repeat this a million times. If you look at many of Krishna's teachings throughout Bhagavad Gita with this perspective of humility and pariprashna, then you'll be able to see that throughout he has demonstrated the compassion that he has. He's not just a scholarly philosopher who came and went. He's been Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. And he has demonstrated that aspect time and again of being your friend, your selfless friend, and being vested in you, being compassionate, being loving. Now, you can feel the love as much as you are open. It is entirely up to us. Now see, but of course, all this is good. All this is beautiful. So Krishna has said, Vahamiham. Krishna has said, I will carry the needs of my devotees. Beautiful. However, Krishna also said there is a prerequisite. Can anybody tell me what is a prerequisite? Yes?
Consistency with ananya chintan.
Yes. I'm so happy. I think everybody gets it now. Ananya Chintan. Krishna says that is the only prerequisite. So what is this Ananya Bhakti? If you have to truly understand Ananya Bhakti, it's at the heart, it's very simple. It is just unwavering devotion, where our focus is solely, completely on the divine, without any distractions and without any motives or agendas. A pure, intense longing, love for the divine. If I have to explain it the other way, when we talk about Ananya Bhakti, the relationship that you have, the relationship can be with your satsang, the relationship can be with your teacher, the guru, the relationship can be with Krishna, doesn't matter. But that relationship has to be total unconditional love. What it cannot be transactional. So I'm just trying to help you understand what it means and what it does not mean. So we are not getting into all those discussions of, a funny incidents. I remembered that when I was very young, my college was very close to Rajneesh Osho Ashram in Pune. Sorry, not my college, my first job. That office was very, very close to the Osho Ashram, and I'm talking about the 90s. So it was not crowded and all, it was beautiful and all. And I was very curious as a youngster, what is going on here? Like, who is this Osho and why does he have such a huge prime real estate here and all of that? But to make a long story short, I saw a cassette in the shop that said, Osho's philosophy, something. So I bought it and I was listening to it at home. And one of the things he said made me really introspect very, very, very much. Like he made a very controversial statement and then he goes on to justify it. He says, in my opinion, hatred is a better emotion than love. Hatred is kind of more powerful than love. And I'm like, what is he talking about? It got my attention. So I wanted to really know what he's trying to say. It was actually a sarcastic statement. So what he was saying is, if you tell somebody, I love you, most of the times, especially if a man tells a woman, I love you, he says, most of the times the question will be, what kind of love? Is it fatherly love, brotherly love, friendly love? There are these questions that come. Or if in general you tell somebody that I love somebody, they will ask, what kind of love? Sisterly love, motherly love, he says all of that. But he said, tell somebody I hate you. It's absolute. Nobody is going to ask you what kind of hate. Is it fatherly hate, motherly hate, sisterly hate? He says, that doesn't come. So he says, in my opinion, that is why I think hatred is a more superior emotion, you see. But of course, he was trying to be very sarcastic, and then he goes on and he talks about his philosophy of love. But what I'm trying to tell you is there is truth in that. The truth is that when we say I love Krishna, what kind of love is that? So we need to be able to make that an absolute emotion. And that is what unconditional love means. Unconditional love means there is no reason, there is no if, there is no but, there is no, oh, my love was like this, my love was brotherly only, my love was sisterly only. No, you can do this, you cannot do this, you can say this, you cannot. Those are all like transactional. It has to be absolute love, that's it, That is one of the main aspects of Ananya Chintan, Ananya Bhakti. It will take a lot of time. I mean, if we have the karmic entitlement, if we have done spirituality in the past life, it will come very quickly in this life. Otherwise, we will have to work for it. We'll have to practice. But it is possible. Very possible. There are some very key aspects of Ananya Bhakti. One is exclusivity. We just discussed. This is the reason why Krishna will say that don't run behind demigods. It is not that he has any problem with those demigods. The thing is, Ananya Chintan means one-pointed focus. How can you have one-pointed focus if you are looking at 15 different points? It's a very logical thing. So he says, focus on one point and that let that one point be Krishna. That is exclusivity, the first aspect. Second aspect, simplicity. You don't need any elaborate rituals. You don't need like 55 different types of food to be prepared. You don't need silk saris, and there is nothing is required. It is accessible to anybody. And Krishna himself has said that it doesn't matter man, woman, human, animal. He says it doesn't matter. Krishna himself has said, so there is no debate here. There is no second opinion here. The third aspect is total surrender. Surrender means what? Deepaji already knows the 6 steps of surrender. Completely trusting, no doubts, and no conditions. Don't sit and say, Krishna, I will pray if you give me that promotion. Or, Krishna, I think I will start believing in you after you give me that bonus. Or I will start believing in you once you give me that next relationship. Those things are all transactional. And that is not unconditional. And we need to have trust. If we have trust, the love will come first. If you don't have trust, the evidence has to come first. Simple. And the fourth is a transformative power, because that is a key feature of this Ananya Bhakti is such a relationship, such a love will transform the devotees. That is a guarantee. And the transformation is what we are all seeking for. Now I want to give you another small story that demonstrates this aspect of Yogakshemam Vahamyaham in real life. Usually I tell you stories that are from Puranas, so I thought this time I will try to tell you a story which is more recent, relatable. So there is this very incredible Bhakti Yogi, her name is Yamuna Devi. Now, she was born as Joan Campanella. She's an American girl. She was born to a very religious Christian family. But deep down, she always felt like something was missing. She always felt like there is a hole in her heart that nothing is able to fill. Now, we are talking about the 1960s where everybody was searching for something new, something different. And that is when Yamuna Devi stumbled across this whole concept of Bhakti Yoga, and she came in contact with Srila Prabhupada. So in the previous session, we spoke about Prabhupadaji's experience. So I thought this is a nice segue where I can talk about Yamuna Devi, who was associated with Prabhupada. But she knew nothing. She knew nothing about what is Bhakti. She knew nothing about who is this Prabhupada. She knew nothing about what is Krishna. But when she met him, and when Prabhupada started talking about Bhakti and divine love and Lord Krishna, it just felt like music to her ears. And somehow something in her heart said, this is what I've been waiting for. This is really what I need to follow. And she was one of the very first Western disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And it was not easy at all, of course. We are talking about the 1960s, still a very conservative period in history. And she also had to learn new languages. She had to understand a totally different way of life, vegetarian food, different kind of clothes, different kind of thought process, different philosophy, different language. And people didn't understand. And people who were in her life at that time, they were ridiculing her. And some of them were opposing what she's trying to do. Some of them were creating hurdles on her path. Needless to say, when people don't understand something, they consider it as a threat. Something new, something that they don't understand. So a lot of people are discouraging her as well. But none of that really mattered to her. She had her mind set on Krishna. She was, I think, a very blessed soul who definitely had a lot of spiritual, accumulated spiritual wealth from the past birth, because she had this conviction that she has found the path. She had the conviction that Krishna was the answer, and she had the conviction that she has to remain focused. This is what is called as conviction. If everybody in your family is opposing you, if your friends are opposing you, if society in general is opposing you, would you still pursue that love relationship? Then let us say that is conviction. But if you are going and having a love relationship because your family is celebrating it, your friends are celebrating it, where is conviction in that? It is just convenience. That is what is the difference between a club membership and true ananya chintan. Now here, Yamuna Devi was demonstrating true conviction, and she started chanting very sincerely, very regularly. She was serving in the temples, and slowly amazing things started happening. Slowly the challenges started becoming lesser and lesser. And Yamuna Devi, because Yamuna Devi has said herself that many times she felt like Krishna was there guiding her and protecting her. And mind you, Yamuna Devi was no scholar in Bhagavad Gita. Definitely she even did not know what was a Bhagavad Gita, but she could feel Krishna's presence. In other words, she could feel what Krishna said. Yoga kshemam vahamiham, she could feel that. And she poured her heart, and she was also leading by example in another aspect. What was that other aspect that we just explained? That you can be in the world and you can still do ananya chintan. So she was very good in cooking. So she poured her heart and soul there, and she started cooking as if she's cooking for Krishna. And that made her very popular, because she went and wrote a book called, maybe you can check it out. That book is called Lord Krishna's Cuisine, The Art of Indian Vegetarian Cooking. That is the book that she wrote, and it became really popular. It became a bestseller. But it is just a small aspect of her life. I mean, the impact didn't end there. You will be very surprised, and you may be inspired to know that it was Yamuna Devi who introduced George Harrison to Prabhupada, the great Beatles musician. It was Yamuna Devi who introduced him to Prabhupada. And based on Yamuna Devi's introduction and based on that, George Harrison developed conviction in Krishna's teachings. And in turn, George Harrison had a huge followership. And when people saw that George Harrison is taking interest, it had such a positive influence on so many youngsters that they all started turning towards Krishna. See the magic. Is it possible that somebody can plan and do all of this? No. It is all Krishna's Leela. You just have to let it happen. You just take care of keeping your soil fertile. Krishna will take care of sprouting the seeds and making it a tree. That is the whole lesson. So what can we learn? We can learn that no matter what life throws at you, if you have faith and if you have devotion, Krishna is going to be there. He will catch you when you fall. And he will carry what you need, just like Krishna promised in 922. So Yamuna Devi, her life is such a great example of how one person's devotion can make such a huge impact in the world, because Yamuna Devi's devotion didn't just impact her. Yamuna Devi's devotion impacted thousands and thousands and thousands of people. All thanks to her Ananya Chintan. And that holds true for each one of us in this satsang. If we can truly practice Ananya Chintan, we are not helping just ourselves. It will have an impact on people around us. It has to have an impact. And people around us who are impacted will impact people around them. So don't you all want to play such a role? Don't you all want to play such an important role in your life? And Krishna is saying all you have to do is Ananya Chintan. So that is why we keep repeating. That is why I keep repeating Ananya Chintan, because at the end of the day, that one formula, that one act of conviction transforms not only us, but it transforms everything that we come in contact with. And that is such a meaningful, such a beautiful way to live. The another aspect I want to touch upon is this whole concept of bhava in bhakti, because I'm trying to tie all of this together. So now, one of the mechanisms for Ananya Chintan, people said you can do chanting, which is fine. But then that chanting also cannot be just mechanical. The chanting needs to have the bhava, the intent. So that is the aspect I'm going to touch upon. 9.26, another very powerful assurance from Sri Krishna. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktaya prayachati tadaham bhaktaya upahrutam ashnami prayatatmanah. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. I am just looking for a pure-hearted devotee. See, there are some people who very proudly say that, मैंने सोना चढ़ाया, मैंने चांदी चढ़ाया. In other words, I gifted gold to God. I gifted silver to God. I gifted ₹1,000,000 to God. What are you saying? What was yours to gift to God? Because God owns everything already. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. We are taking from God. Whatever we have belongs to God already. And now we are giving it back to God only with so much pride. So technically, there is nothing that we can give God. Because everything already belongs to Him, including you. You belong to God too. Your body. No, have you even seen your heart? Have you even seen your own brain? But it is still there, na? How can it be yours if you have not even seen it, if you don't even know how it really works? Definitely it's not yours. It is somebody else has given it to you. Correct? Isn't that a very logical understanding? If you have something which you don't even understand, which you have not even seen completely, how can it be yours? Correct? Like there is a wallet. Somebody is saying, I found a wallet. Ye kiska hai? Who does it wallet belong to? Now you go and say, hey, this is mine. Then the first question they will ask is, okay, tell me what is inside. Whichever person can accurately say what is inside, they will say that wallet belongs to that person. Now you take this body and you say it belongs to me, and somebody asks you, okay, tell me what is inside, but you don't know. So then how can this body be yours? No? So I'm making you think. The point is, nothing belongs to us. Technically. So then what can we give? That is why Krishna says, what you give is not important, how you give is important. So Krishna says, it doesn't mean that there is no hope. It doesn't mean that you cannot show your devotion to me by giving me something. That's not the point. He says you should not focus on what you are giving. Shift the focus to how you are giving. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. He's saying, give me a leaf, that is okay, but how you are giving is important. Do you have that bhava of bhakti? He says, that is what I am looking for. That is what I am focusing on. And that is what you should focus on. Make sense? So let us see. To explain this a little bit better, I have another story. Okay, this story is of Vidurani. You all know who is Vidurani. She is such a great character in the Mahabharata. So the story is, it is documented in the Mahabharata. So when Sri Krishna went to Hastinapur, especially when he went to Hastinapur as a Shanti Dut, Duryodhana, you know how Duryodhana is. I mean, he is powerful, he is smart, he is intelligent, all of that. But he's also selfish, he's also egoistic, and he has an agenda for everything. And he thinks he can control the outcomes by being very smart. So when Krishna comes as a Shanti Dut, Duryodhana was not really interested in Shanti. But he was interested in turning Krishna as his ally. So what he does, he tells Krishna, you have to come and eat at my place. And I have made this, 55 different or 56 Chappan Bhog, we call it Chappan Bhog. So he says, there are 56 items that I have made and all of that. But Krishna is not interested really. No? So Krishna very politely rejects that invitation. And instead he goes to the humble residence, a humble hut of Vidurani. Krishna goes there to have food. And Vidurani has been really waiting and longing for the day when she can serve Krishna. Does this story seem familiar? Have you seen a similar story somewhere else?
In Ramayana, when Shabri was giving bail.
Yes. The same theme there also. The poor Shabri, she was really longing for Rama, and Lord Rama personally goes and visits Shabri. The same theme appears again, where Krishna he personally goes and visits Vidurani. It's a huge privilege that the Lord visits you. Now, Vidurani was overjoyed. Just like Shabri was overjoyed, Vidurani was also overjoyed. And it is said, or it is written in the Mahabharata, that Vidurani was so overcome by devotion, so overcome by her emotions of seeing Sri Krishna and the chance, opportunity to serve Krishna, that she is feeding Krishna. But how she is feeding Krishna? She is taking a banana, she is peeling it, and throwing away the banana, and she is giving Krishna the peel. Because she is not in her senses. She is so overcome by emotion that she is feeding the peels to Krishna, and Sri Krishna is relishing it, is enjoying it, and he is consuming all the peels that she is giving him. And just then Vidura comes into the house. He sees what is happening and he's exclaiming, "Oh Vidurani, what are you doing? You are feeding Krishna banana peels? Instead of feeding him the fruit, you are feeding him the peel. What are you doing?" And then Vidurani kind of comes back to her senses. And she apologizes. She's like, "Oh Krishna, what have I done? Like, what am I doing? I'm giving you a peel." She comes back to her senses, and then she actually now starts feeding Krishna the fruit instead of the peels. But then what does Krishna say? I mean, of course, it is said in Sanskrit, so I cannot do justice to it in English. But I'll try. But Krishna says, "Vidurani, these fruits are delicious, but they are not as delicious as those peels." Why? See, because when she was feeding Krishna the peels, she was in absolute Krishna consciousness. Whereas when she started feeding him the fruits, she had come back to her normal consciousness. And Krishna wants to say that for me, that divine consciousness, that love was what was important. So he says, actually, I enjoyed the peels more. So these are all the nectars contained in the Mahabharata, that we should be able to relish and enjoy and appreciate. So Krishna says, if you can practice this, if you can practice the right bhava, don't focus on whether you are giving me a leaf or a fruit or a flower or water, or if you can focus on the bhava, if you can focus on being engrossed in me, being devoted to me, then whatever you give me, I relish it. I really enjoy it. So, the other aspect is, it is the bhava only which makes things divine. Now, when somebody says it is a holy place, what makes that place holy? Otherwise, if you look at it, every place is made of the same bhutas. Every place is made of the same sand, same mud, same stone, same concrete. So why is it that one place we call as holy? It is the bhava. It is the bhava that makes the place holy. If there is no bhava, there is no such thing as holy. Nothing is going to be holy and nothing is going to be not holy, right? That is one of the secrets of spirituality. What is that secret is? I can go deeper into maybe another session, but it's a very deep secret of spirituality that it is the intention that makes anything good or evil. We have spoken about the example of a soldier versus a mercenary. They both kill, but we glorify one person and we condemn the other. But what they did was the same. They both were killing people, right? What was different was the intent. One was just thinking of country. One was trying to do what is required to protect his country and countrymen. The other person was just thinking about money and adharma and enmity and all of that. You see? So this is one of the core secrets of spirituality, is that it is our bhava, it is our intent that makes something good or evil. And what we are aiming for? We are aiming for unconditional love, which is the absolute good. So if you want the absolute good, we have to have the absolute intent. That is why bhava is so important. This is what Krishna is also saying. Now, does it make sense? Previously, when I said that just chanting doesn't make sense, you have to have bhava, I think some people, it didn't go well with some people. But this is the whole concept. This is the whole spiritual science. Is you don't have to sit and do a million rounds. It's good if you do a million rounds. But what is more important? When you do even one round, are you in that bliss? Are you in that state of divine love? Are you in that state? That is what is important. If we can only do one round, that is okay, but do it in such a way that Krishna should be smiling at you. Krishna should be feeling that love. That is the whole message here. So, following Krishna's advice of dedicating all actions and sacrifices to Krishna, that is the way we make our entire life experience divine. What I'm trying to say is, just now we discussed that it is our intent that makes something good or evil, or something that makes something divine. So, when you are doing anything, if you are doing it as an offering to Krishna, you change your intent, then that act becomes divine. So this is what I was telling Ekansh the other day. There is nothing wrong in doing a business. Is it wrong to do a business? Should I be focusing on Krishna? You can do both. You can do a business, but do it with Krishna consciousness. Do it with that intent that I am doing it to align with Krishna. I'm going to serve people. I'm going to do something good. I'm going to serve quality food or whatever. You see, then that act becomes divine. Then that doesn't take you away from spirituality. That aligns you more towards spirituality. That's the whole part. And then comes this other very, very profound assurance that this kind of devotion we are talking about, we just said that it has the power to transform. Transform what? Transform anybody. Not just Vaishnavas or Shaivas, or transform anybody. In fact, it has the power to transform even the worst of sinners. There are many examples. Some of the most classic examples are Ajamil and Valmiki. Very popular stories. So you know already, we have already studied about Valmiki. Valmiki was such a sinner. He became a robber, and he did all kind of horrible things, and he had so much sins. He had committed so many sins. He had so much negative karma accumulated that his tongue could not even pronounce. It could not even say Rama. Even that wouldn't come from his tongue. Just imagine the amount of sins he had accumulated. But then he had a very loving guru, and that guru found a way of keeping him engaged. He said, okay, you cannot say Rama, can you say Mara? Because Mara is a negative word, and he could say Mara, and eventually that became Rama, and the rest of the story everybody knows. So much so that he became a legendary saint, not just a reformed sinner. He became a legendary saint. That is the beauty. So it is written, Ulta naam japat jag jana, Valmiki bhaye Brahman samana. The whole world is testimony to the fact that the sinner Valmiki, he attained sainthood by chanting the name of Lord Rama ulta. Even ulta transformed him so much. Imagine Sita will do so much wonders, na? That is why we say that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So when we say every saint has a past, it keeps us humble. And when we say every sinner has a future, it keeps us hopeful. So being humble and hopeful, what else you need? So there is no condemnation, there is no damnation, there is no eternal damnation. Krishna declares that you can be the worst of sinner, but you start practicing ananya bhakti, that is it. you are transformed. Just to give you a wider perspective, I just want to tell you that this theme is there even in the Bible. So in Bible, Jesus says, "But go tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you." Now, what I'm trying to bring out here, this is a very profound aspect of the Bible. I won't go too much into deep, but I just want to give you an idea of the grace of God. Doesn't matter in which form it comes to us, whether it comes to us through a apostle or whether it comes to us through a Vaishnava devotee. The concept is the same. I was just telling you, it is Matthew 16.7. If you want, you can go look it up. But the point here I want to make is, it was Peter who disappointed Jesus the most. Because he is the one who refused to recognize Jesus when the Romans came to arrest him. He turned his back immediately. He said, "I don't even know who this guy is." So he was that devotee who disappointed Jesus the most. But then he is the one person who Jesus calls out by name. You see the beauty, you see the compassion. So, in other words, the one who disappointed Jesus the most was the one who was singled out for redemption. So that is a message that Jesus is giving to humanity, just like Krishna is giving the same message to humanity, that you can be the worst of sinner and you can still get redemption. Very powerful message. Why this message is important is because we are all sinners. We are all sinners. That is why we are in this material world. That is why we are stuck in samsara. That is why we go through so many pains and so many disappointments. We are still under the control of Maya because we are all sinners. And that is why this message is so important. The message is not to go commit more sins. The message is, we have committed enough sins and let us not let that discourage us from the path. Let us have the hope that we can still get redemption. And there is evidence to that, there are examples to that. And then finally Krishna makes another very profound declaration. Kaunteha pratijanihi na me bhaktaha pranashyati. Now there is a reason why I called out this example from the Bible, because there Jesus is telling Peter that go tell everyone something. He is sending a message to Peter. Now here Krishna is telling Arjuna that Arjuna, make this declaration that my devotees will never perish. Now tell me something, can't Krishna himself make the declaration? I mean, Krishna spoke 540 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Can't he just make that extra declaration? No. He's asking his devotee Arjuna. See, Arjuna, for all practical purposes, disappointed Krishna. Because in spite of, knowing what is dharma, what is not dharma, being a brother of Yudhishthira, who is the Dharmaraj, he understands everything. And being, not being really following dharma in the true sense and forgetting Krishna at some times because the youth Krida was going on, they were losing. They came to such a dire strait that they had to place their own Draupadi in the bet. But even then, Krishna didn't come to their mind. Even Arjuna for that matter, didn't say, "Oh Krishna, you are my friend." No. But later on when they will talk, he will call Krishna as my friend. No? But where was that in your mind when you were in that critical situations, right? So all of that. And when the war started, Arjuna should have been the one who understood the importance of the war, but he's the one who is getting a mental diarrhea and he's the guy who is behaving like a coward, So Krishna had all the right to get disappointed with Arjuna. But is that what that happened? No. Krishna singles out Arjuna to be that messenger for humanity. Krishna singles out Arjuna to be that recipient of that divine knowledge, that confidential knowledge. You see, so if we fail, let us not get into this mindset of, do I deserve Krishna's love? Am I good enough? Let us not get into that mode at all. because there is evidence to show that that is not what matters to Krishna. What matters to Krishna is, are you willing to make the transformation now? And if that answer is yes, Krishna makes a promise. No? What promise is that? Na me bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perish. You are taken care of. So here he is asking Arjuna to declare this truth. Very, very beautiful, very profound. See, you have to keep in mind that Krishna himself has said there are many types, many paths, and we all know there are many types, many ways to reach God. We have Raja Yoga, we have Jnana Yoga, we have this yoga, that yoga. These days we have beach yoga, we have, whatever party yoga. But all of them have some qualifications that you need. Whereas there is no qualification required to practice Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga can be done no matter who you are, what your background is, what kind of sins you have committed. Nothing really matters. Bhakti Yoga can be done by anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that is Krishna's assurance. And very profound thing that Sulata ji posted in the group. Bhakti is not meant for those who are pure. Bhakti is meant for those who wish to become pure. So do you have that sincere wish? Do you really want it? Then you can have it. That is the only qualification. Thus, free from pride, with the heart immersed in devotion, one should dedicate all our actions and thoughts to God. And Sri Krishna is assuring us that such constant practice of Bhakti Yoga, such complete surrender, it will definitely result in attainment of God realization. And Krishna says there should be no doubt about that. It is guaranteed. So many assurances, so many guarantees. Does it all make sense to you? Now you understand why this was why Krishna called it as the most confidential knowledge? Because if you really go through this, if you revise this 9th chapter that we have done, there is nothing else you need. All the keys for your transformation, all the secrets for your liberation, all the tips for your loving relationship with God, everything is contained here. All you have to do is internalize, have faith, drop your pride, ego, and follow the path. So, my best wishes, my blessings with all of you. With that, we conclude this beautiful, glorious chapter. Hare Krishna. I also have documented lot of practical applications of bhakti in day-to-day life. I can just share it in the notes and you can all read and reflect on that. Okay? So Hare Krishna, thank you so much. That's all I had to say. Feel free.
Rajavidya Yoga. No? This is.
Yes, Lakshmi ji?
Rajavidya Rajakukya means this.
Yes, the king of knowledge.
Okay.
And
the
most confidential.
Confidential. Gukya. Okay.
So, anybody had any other questions, comments? Feel free. It's your satsang. We just completed such a profound chapter. All glories to Krishna. Thanks to Krishna for helping us do this. So next session will be the revision, and after that we will start 10th chapter. 10th chapter is called as Vibhuti Yoga, which is talking about the infinite opulences of God. That will all help us further build our devotion. Is it all making sense? Does it all feeling helpful? Impactful? Is it all feeling just like Gyan? You are saying yes to everything.
It is not more Gyan, but it is more related to Bhava. It strikes your Bhava again and again, makes you more overwhelmed.
Yes. Totally.
The best thing is Krishna can carry anything for his devotees. Vahamyam.
True.
Being the supreme power, being like the highest power, still he is so humble that for souls like us, we have created so many sins, right? still he is always ready to carry everything for us.
Yes, true. Very true. But we find it hard to do anything
Yeah,
because we are so big.
we find hard to love him. We find every time evidence. The line you gave us, like if it is a love, then you don't find evidence. If you have trust, when we don't have trust, we definitely many examples came in my mind. I always ask for evidence. That means I don't trust the path.
I'm very happy something made sense. Ekansh, thank you so much. So
Thank
I
you,
know I've
Guruji.
taken a lot of your time, but I hope it was worth it. And but if you have any doubts or questions, I would request you to be open about it, because my humble request, I would say a request only, is try to make sure you have no doubts about chapter 9 at least. And I will be super happy if you can say that I have no doubts up to chapter 9. And it's very important, because that is how true internalization will happen. And that is the whole purpose and whole goal of this exercise. Okay. If nobody has no other questions or comments, I think we can call it a day, wrap it up. And next week we will have a revision. So I will humbly request Chitraji to continue to help me. Chitraji, please find me volunteers. Whoever
Guruji,
is
please take
volunteering.
my name for revision.
Thank you, Ekansh, Suchita, Asha, Deepa, Chitraji, Minalji, Lakshmiji. Yeah, Chitra is witnessing. Chitra has wonderful memories, so she will remember. I see both Smitajis are hesitating to volunteer. अभी तो बोला था कि anybody can do it. Yeah, okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. See you, my dear Satsang family. See you all in the revision next week.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.